Welcome back to the plot, everyone. It's late August now, and I thought it was time to do a little tour. We've been having a really long dry period. It hasn't rained for weeks, and things are struggling a bit. But I've just watered the whole plot. Let's have a look around and see how things are doing. I thought I'd start at the bottom of the plot today. Sunflowers are still growing nicely. I just wanted to start talking about the corn. A while ago I just opened up this to have a look, to see how it's doing. It looks good to me. This variety is called Incredible. Last year we grew a variety called Swift, and I found the kernels to be too small. They're very sweet, but I think a bigger kernel nicer to eat. A lot of the silks are still green, so it'll be a while before those are ready. But I'm looking forward to trying that. I'm going to pick it in a couple of days, I think. Next to the sweet corn bed and the sunflowers, there's a little crown prince squash plant. I mentioned this in the last video, it's just not really grown properly. Leaves are tiny. I think it might be because it's next to the sunflowers, or the soil's just not good here. But got a little couple of fruits growing there. I suspect they won't grow though, but if they do they'll be very small. We'll have to have a look and see how they get along. Just in front of the corn bed there's a sweet dumpling plant and a Uchiki curry plant. I think generally the squash has not done very well this year. I don't know why. There's a few little sweet dumpling plants there, but Uchiki curry, I've only got 2 in total. You can see one down there, and I harvested one earlier where the other one's really small. So I was hoping for at least 2 on it off each plant. I had 2 Uchiki curry plants, but don't know why they've not done well. You'd think with all the warm weather it would have been good, but maybe I've just not watered enough. We've been having some really good harvests from the beans now, from the French beans, but generally I don't know why, but these plants just didn't bulk out. I'd expect them to be filling the whole frame with no gaps. They just didn't really do that. I don't know why. There's still some left. I'd be thinking that these would be going, I'd be harvesting for another month, but I don't think that's going to happen. Down the bottom I've got a few lettuce there, doing okay. I've more or less been ignoring the fruit corner, the 2 blackcurrants and 2 gooseberry plants. But still got gooseberries in the freezer at home, and made loads of jam with the blackcurrants. I need to look up when to prune. I think it's a winter time that you prune ribes. Not sure. Just in front of there, some courgette plants in containers. They're still producing, but to be honest, we've already got a load of courgettes at home, and we've been eating courgettes, 3 or 4 times a week for a month. So, not too worried about getting too many more of those. The beans under the arches seem to have done better than in the bean frame. Over on this side we've got the variety Sunshine, yellow French beans, and I think there's only 1 cobra plant here. These are just spare plants, but they seem to have done well here. And on the other side, this is Greek Gigantes. So you eat the beans inside. They're already drying on the plant, some of them. I don't need to do anything up with these except water them, and I'll just leave them to keep growing and then dry out on the plant for soups and stews over winter. down the bottom here on either side we've got beetroot growing. I think they're doing okay. There's probably not enough light, quite enough light under here, but and then behind the on the outside of the arch here we've got some Jackby little squash pumpkin, sorry, and again with the squash and pumpkins they've just not grown that well. Alex, last year we had about 10 in the same place, 10 of these Jackby little pumpkins, and there's only 2 I think. There's one just behind there, you can just about see. So not really sure what's gone wrong there, if it's just the temperature, the excess heat, or I've not watered enough. It feels like I've watered loads. Down this end, this courgette was in the ground and it's got a lot of mildew now, but it's growing really well here. And I think there's somewhere still putting out courgettes. This is Bianca di Trieste. And then on this side, just a few spring onions. Still got mould problems. The mould keeps digging up this little patch here, so I have to keep pressing it down. And then round the back of this side of the arch, just a few lettuce that are growing nicely. I'm trying to grow enough lettuce. I don't have an undercover growing space, but I'm trying to grow lettuce until for at least for another month, maybe into October as well. I just harvested a carrot just to test see how they're getting along. This is sweet candle carrot and they're doing really well. Still got another month and a half to grow, so that's decent. And there's no sign of root fly on that, it's clean. Then what's happened on this side, and if you can see in there, all the carrots are sort of toppled over. I think it might be the mole still digging in there, but I think should get a decent crop of carrots for winter. Quite happy with that. Okay, this is bed 5 where we had the shallots that we've harvested, and I've now got some spring onions in there, and I planted a couple of Navara lettuce, which is my favourite variety, with the intention to try and collect some seeds, because seed sellers seem to sell out of it quite often. Last year I tried this and it didn't quite work for some reason. I don't know why. This just didn't produce seeds. Maybe I was too late trying to collect them. Hopefully I can get some this year. I did sow a load of wild rocket seeds here, but unfortunately there's loads of weeds there, so I'm going to have to do some weeding, and I can't really tell because rocket seeds are so small and the plant starts so small. I don't really know if there's actually any growing. I harvested a few purple Cherokee tomatoes earlier. This one's just starting to ripen, but it'll ripen at home. And there's the small Uchiki Curry that I harvested. And here's the Gretti, which seems to be gotten very tough. I don't think I'm going to grow that again, probably. Wasn't that impressed with the taste. This is where the Uchiki Curry plant was. It basically just all died. It only produced one small fruit and then just died off. Not really sure why. If it's just too dry, maybe. And over in bed 4, got a load of different brassicas growing. There's the back is 4 purple sprouting broccoli, 2 different varieties. That's for springtime next year. And then I just had a few spare brassicas. I can't remember exactly what they all are. I think one's a Spigarello, and I think there might be 2 Marathon Calabrese that I just had spare. And down there's a red drumhead cabbage, and down the front there's just a couple of kale plants. I did just pull one plant out, but I wasn't sure what it was because it had aphids, which is a bit worrying because they might have spread to the other plants, but hopefully not. And bed number 3 is another brassica bed where we've got 4 Caelette plants that are growing pretty big now, and there's a few Cavallonera plants too. There's a Marathon Calabrese plant there, but it's not really done. That was a spare plant that's just not done very well, so I might just pull that out. I don't think there's enough light here, and I've planted more kale plants here, but again I think they're going to get shaded out because the sun comes down this side, and the Caelette plants will maybe stop them growing, but eventually I'll have to pull a load of leaves off, so maybe these will then pick up for maybe winter and spring. Let's see what happens. But I'm happy with those Caelettes. Bed number 2 is mostly Swedes, which I think are doing really well. I'm slightly worried maybe there was a bit too much nitrogen in the soil because I can't see that much sign of them bulking up, but hopefully at least a few of them will. And there's a load of beetroot in there on the side. They seem to be doing okay. Maybe getting a bit too much shade from the Swede. Just next to the Swede there is 2 Ladiva cucumber plants. You can see down there there's one that I need to harvest, and there's a couple I need harvesting. I'm quite happy with the way they're growing. I have got a load at home. I've grew about 6 Ladiva cucumber plants, so we've had about 50 cucumbers, probably 40 or 50. This is a sort of a succession sowing, so hopefully these will keep going for the next 2 or 3 weeks and we'll get a load more. And here in bed 1 is the leeks and a couple of parsnips and a bit more agretti. I'm quite worried about the leeks because it looks to me like there's Allium Leaf Miner in the bed. The reason I've put the netting on is to protect them from Allium Leaf Miner, but there was garlic in this bed before. I know you're not meant to really, or some people say don't follow allium with allium, but this plot's so small I can't really help that. I can't really do proper crop rotations, so I put the leeks in this bed. And I did notice a couple of Allium Leaf Miner marks on the garlic. The garlic was fine apart from a couple, but I think the Allium Leaf Miner's got in here before I covered it. This is scaffolding netting, and maybe the Allium Leaf Miner can get in there anyway, so this might be a whole ruined crop actually, so that's not good. And here in the shed bed, the very messy shed bed, we've got mostly potatoes growing. These potatoes here are main crop, pink fir apple, and that's blue Danube, but they just died off early. I've watered them the same as these, but these are Cara and they've grown really well. So I'm not sure why the difference. I'm guessing we're not going to get a great crop out of these ones, but the Cara should be good. I've been feeling around the side. You can feel lumps on the side, so I think we should get some decent ones, a decent crop, and hopefully a few jacket potato size. There's parsnips just behind there. They're still growing okay. I'm not that keen on parsnips, to be honest, but it's nice to have a few at Christmas. And then behind there, right next to the shed, is a fig plant, fig tree. And we've had about 20 nice tasting sweet figs off this. Last year I tasted the figs and I thought they were horrible, so I was worried it's not a variety that grows well in it. Maybe it's self-seeded or something, but it looks like it's actually a decent variety, so that's been quite good actually. I think that's it for this vlog. As usual with gardening, got some hits and misses, some wins and losses. Generally I'm pretty pleased with how the season's gone so far. Not got that much left to plant out really. I've got a few sort of Asian green stuff, got some Kometsuna, and I've got some Troublesome that I've just sown seeds for. I've got some Landcress also to go out, but apart from that, and some spring onions. But apart from that, there's not that much. I've got to find space for those things. I think some of it will go in pots, and then of course I've got to think about garlic. Where I'm going to put the garlic. I think the garlic's probably going to go in this bed once I clear the tomatoes and that agretti. Anyway, that's it for now. Thank you for watching.